HHDG. Peace, peace. Today, we got one of our members of HHDG Media with us, the man, T. Smith. What's up, yo?
What up? What up? What up? Y'all hear me out there? Nice. You know, I had to come step in here, man. You know, we got the man coming through, my brother for probably damn near 20 years at this point. So I had to come through and get in the conversation, you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy to be here. I ain't been on the podcast in a minute, you know?
Definitely.
All right.
So what you been up to?
Some things in the works. I'm out in North Carolina right now. So got some things in the works. We're working with a couple of projects, stuff with Essence. So I'm loving the remote work. Because I could be anywhere. I'm in my office right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right, but yeah, I think 2022 is gonna be nice, man. I think we're gonna do some new things with HHDG. Some new things on the horizon. I don't even want to speak about it till things are locked in.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Way. Yeah, exactly. What's up with you, man? How HHDG's first family?
Fam doing good. You're doing good.
All right. Send a shout out to Iz and the boys.
Definitely. She just commented. She said, "Welcome back, T."
Yeah. Yeah. So who we dealing with tonight, man? I'll let you give him the proper introduction.
Definitely. Tonight, we got probably one of my favorite coming out of Brooklyn. And even if he wasn't even coming out of Brooklyn, he's still nice, you know. He's shown maturity. You know, his music has relatable content with it. The bars are always on point. I think this brother could probably spit his regular daily life if you wanted to. You know, I mean, he's come up. He's shown his education has been an important part of his lyricism. And you know, into becoming a father as well.
Right.
You know,
growth.
Exactly. And with that growth, you know, he's shown throughout the years through some of the talented artists that we're going to speak on later on that have helped, you know, absorb what they brought to the game to help him make him who he is now.
And if those who don't know Sha got a deep history, legacy wise in hip hop, with his brother, which I'm sure we'll get to, and you know, I witnessed it myself in my runarounds in the industry. I saw Sha popping up here and there in different places, making the rounds, you know what I mean, and having some real important meetings with people. So Sha got some stories to tell. He been around and he been in the industry, and I witnessed it myself. So, and we got a little history ourselves because most of his first music videos I had directed. So we were out there grinding together. So I love that brother and I love his talent. And I'm glad we putting them up on there, but I ain't mean to cut you.
Nah, that's good. That was perfect. And without further ado, Sha Stimuli.
Yo. Thank you for that intro, man. T, what up, man?
What up, Sha?
Man, love you too, bro. Y'all appreciate y'all, man. This is beautiful.
No doubt.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, where you want to start? You know, you want to start with, you know, your early beginnings of, you know, just your brother. I mean, that would be the perfect part right there.
I mean, y'all tell me, man. Like I said, I can't call it babysitting because they're my kids, but I got my boys here, so you know, I got make sure they don't interrupt too much. But yeah, I was a youngster, man, just running around. My brother Lord Digger, you know, he went to Sheep's Head Bay with Master Ace. They played football together. So when Ace started doing the music, man, you know, a lot of those guys from Sheep's Head started to get into the business. And my brother was doing beats and rhyming, and I was a kid just lucky enough to tag along. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the studio sessions, video shoots. They would come to my house for barbecues, Ace and Craig, and I was just, in hip hop early, man. I'm 11, 12
Yeah.
years old. I still remember Ace picking me up from middle school, man, to be on a joint called Hell Up in Harlem. I was doing little ad libs. He don't remember. Every time I tell him about it, he's like, I don't remember that. But it was big for me. So yeah, I was on the move. What was it? Moving On remix.
Moving On remix.
Yeah, that was my first time in the studio. So all that little stuff helped because I was in the booth really early. Just understanding what it took and being around my brother and when he's doing stuff for Biggie and the Cellar Dwellers, and them guys used to come to my basketball games when I was a kid. It was just exciting, man. Like I felt like being an artist was just something that was in me. It wasn't anything I forced at that age. I really wanted to do it.
Where did you get your rhyming vernacular from? You know what I'm saying? Like I know being around your brother and seeing production and stuff, but like why did you not attach yourself to production opposed to getting into more lyricism?
I was always a fan of words, man. Like I just like to flip words, and I think I studied artists really early. I studied Lord Finesse, I studied Granddaddy IU, I studied Chip Fool, and as I got older, I studied Lauryn Hill, Jay-Z, just the way they flip words and trying to come up with my own style. And I was already a conversational person, so I mean, you've seen how I do. Is like I wanted to be the type of MC that when you listen to, you kind of forget you're listening to a song, which was my gift and curse because I didn't make anthems and my production was always I want to say it catered to my words. So I would have words and then I would look for backdrops.
Yeah.
So I wasn't always the best artist or song maker in my regards. I think I was more of just somebody that just wanted to say something, and I just happened to be doing music, but I didn't learn that till a lot later. So yeah, just studying.
Go ahead, Ian.
I was gonna talk about just give us an example of how those sessions were, like just being in the studio with these.
What's the most standout session that you remember? With your brother.
I mean, the most standout was the Crazy Drunken Style session because I was there for Saturday Night Live. Y'all not familiar with the Master Ace Slaughterhouse album, so that's if you listen close, there's somebody saying DJ Premier in the beginning. That's me.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's a little light voice. And my brother had his own song, Crazy Drunken Style, on the joint. So I came up with some of the chorus. I think the Far Side. I think we took something from the Far Side, and I was coming up with little stuff out there, just ideas I didn't think they was gonna use. But then I had a verse at the end. I had 8 bars, and this was gonna be my moment. I thought this was it. And I put all my dopest verses, dopest lines together, and went to sleep. Woke up and it was gone. And I heard the mix. I was like, I heard my brother's ad libs in the spot where my verse was. And I'm 14 years old, so I'm just like I kind of ate it, But I asked him, he was like, Ace didn't want it to be another posse cut feel, kind of like Saturday Night Live, so he took it off. And I was just like, man, I could have changed my life. But that was it was a memorable session because I actually used some of those lines later on, so I know they weren't trash. It was just the fact that it didn't fit. Also, meeting Biggie was big too. Like this.
You gotta talk about that.
I mean, it wasn't like a super, moment because I didn't know. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like this was just he wasn't dressed like a star. He wasn't. He had a presence, but he was picking beats. And
was this pre-album?
This was before Ready to Die. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it wasn't even a session. It was I think it wasn't his session. I think he was just there and he picked out a couple of joints and he was so sure, like when he heard the beat, he was like, yeah, that's me. That's me, that's me. And I remember them playing the original Ready to Die because it was a different beat. And I just remember hearing, and I was like, yo, wait, that's this guy? And the song, those lines I was hearing, the techniques dripping on my butt cheeks, and I was just like, and then he said, sleep on my stomach so I don't fuck up my sheets. And I was like, that's a different style than I was used to because he took something, metaphoric and then made it human. And I was like, this guy's I didn't expect that, you know what I'm saying? And I went home thinking, what did I just witness? Like that wasn't just your typical MC, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm listening to the two songs they played, I just didn't know. But I kept that in the back of my head, and then like I want to say weeks later, I heard Party and Bullshit and just other things, and it was like, oh, okay.
At that point in the studio, did you hear about how he wrote his rhymes, the fact that he didn't write his rhymes, or was that kind of something that was bubbling around, or you just heard the
Nah,
rhymes?
yeah, nobody was into how people put stuff together back then. Like it was just, you just did it. I mean, I had memorized my verse for for my joint, so they probably could have thought I didn't write, but I wrote everything.
So seeing all of that with your brother, and then kind of getting your taste of your first piece of rejection.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you at now? You say you was 14 at that point. So like why didn't you either stop there, or what made you keep going? Did the taste make you going forward, or did the rejection kind of hold you down a little bit?
But yeah, it held me down because I didn't know. I was getting older, so I didn't know who I was. I didn't know. At that time, it was like anything I thought of, I was coming at Crisscross or coming at ABC or thinking about being this young MC, young rapper. And then you hit 16, and you're like, all right, that's out. Now I got to be good. And I got to be good for real. So I chilled. Like I had little lines here and there, but I didn't see myself really being an MC until I got to college. And I think that's when and not even my first year of college. I went to junior college in Iowa to play basketball. It was that second year when I went to a HBCU, Delaware State, and I was around other MCs. And I kind of started to develop my own style because at that time, this was '96, so Jay-Z was popping.
Yeah.
And when people saw me and heard me, it was like that was the first comparison, I guess, because I was tall, brown skin, and I wasn't yelling. So it was like, you sound like Jay, and I was like, I don't, but okay. And I think around that time is where I started to develop, who I was and what I wanted to say. And I created a Stimuli character, which was a little bit more braggadocious or more arrogant than Sherrod. And I was already shy to everybody on campus. So, I was kind of a cool person, cool guy. And I think that's when I started to feel like, okay, this is something I want to do. And then when Biggie passed, I think it clicked. Like I started to just instantly think about not being here anymore and what it would mean if I passed away, and what would I leave? Because up until that point, I think from 15 to 18, basketball was everything. But then I was like, that's not enough. That's not enough. I got to do something else. So I think the music started to become more of a purpose, and that was what drove me.
Ian, you had any questions?
Yeah, he was just talking about the music became a purpose. Is that when you started? Let me start making mixtapes.
Well, the mixtapes didn't happen until 2002. I had no plan on doing any type of mixtape stuff. Like my journey from since I graduated college, '99 to 2002, I was up and down 95, rapping for anybody I could. I was out in Atlanta where I live now, just rapping in anybody's face, just trying to get to that next step, that record deal, and improve because I felt like I needed to get better. So me and my team, we would get together in South Jersey and record and work, and it was all about getting better. Like we treated it like a sport. Like we was like, these guys are doing this over here. we got to work on our craft. We got to, I had to work on my stage show. I had to work on my breath control. I had to make sure that the song concepts were tighter, that the music would sound better. Like we didn't want to go in offices and not be prepared. So I think when 50 started the whole mixtape thing, it was like, all right, we have to do this. And I had songs. I didn't want to put them out. But if everybody's doing it, like, nah, we got to do this. And that's when, the buzz started to kind of get going and start to accumulate. And that's when I got the Unsigned Hype and the Source, and I got production deals offered. And, we would go to All-Star Weekend. We went to the Source Awards, and I was still rapping for people. I still was hungry. So that's when that started.
When, you have a very distinct lyrical flow in the sense of your content. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And even though, even your new stuff is more grown, more mature, you know what I mean? Stuff. Even back then, when you first came in the game and started, you still had, I don't know if the word is detailed, but like, you obviously had exceptional rhyme flow beyond what we were hearing out there at that time. You know what I mean? Like, where did that develop, or how did that develop? Was that more of a product of the environment of people that you were growing up around? Like you said, when Biggie passed, was that something that made you say, I'm going to take up the legacy of this lyricism helm? You know what I mean? Or like what, because like I said, it's something that you have. So did you realize at one point it was an innate thing, or did you develop that?
I think it was both. I think listening so much, like I said, I listened to Lauryn Hill, and I've listened to her conversational style. And when me being, I guess, book smart, I would break down the way people attacked every song. So even with Reasonable Doubt, I would notice that, okay, he's not on a lot of the hooks, and he's attacking the flows different on different songs or different cadences. It's not always one way. So I would study that. I would study the way Busta would rhyme different on different songs. And then I figured in 2002, when I was kind of making my rise, everybody kind of had similar ways of approaching music, the guys that were popping. So I had to compete against Graf, Papoose, Joel Ortiz, Mano, Gravy, like all of these guys, Saigon. And I never felt like I was a competitive person. I wanted to carve my own lane. So I used to hear a beat and try to attack it a different way and flow different, and my content would be different. So I wanted you to feel like if you didn't like rap, you would still want to hear me. And that is the answer to your question. Like, that was my motivation. So I would go perform at Soul Cafe when Maria Davis would have her I think it was Mad Thursdays at the time. It started out as Mad Wednesdays. I forgot which one it was, but she would have this crowd of people in Malik Yoba's restaurant, and they would be sitting and eating. And she would have a live band. And at first she didn't allow any rappers. So when I got my chance to get up there, this was my way of showing that I can rhyme for an R&B crowd and have everybody in attendance on the edge of their seat. And it started with just being conversational. It started with having relatable content, and it started with, me giving energy, but it wasn't your typical hip hop energy. It was almost like a motivational speaker energy. It was almost like, I'm excited to be here, but I'm not pointing a gun at you, and I'm not, the content was different. So I had this adult vision in my head. I think it was just a little ahead of its time, like just a little bit. Like they weren't necessarily ready for it. I think when Kanye came and he kind of opened the door for Drake and J. Cole and Kendrick, and I think that was the lane I was going for. I just needed the Rockefeller to usher me in, because at that time I was pretty much, I would have been a raucous artist, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but that wasn't where I saw myself. So that was the dilemma.
And you said that, and not to cut you, Ian, but you said that you mentioned Rockefeller. So with that being said, in a sense, you had your beginnings in that circle.
Yep.
I don't know if a lot of people know that, but and I remember Lenny S was I don't know if he was your management or what. But what was your ties in with Rockefeller? Because you was in that circle and stuff, and what kind of came out of that situation?
So in '97, when I was in college, I was in my second year at Delaware State. A girl I was talking to, she used to have all these Rockefeller posters up, And I noticed when Jay came to his homecoming, she was backstage. I was like, hey, what's going on? I like to be the cool guy on campus. I need to know how you getting these plugs, like, you know what I'm saying? So she was like,
I was gonna throw out some names, but we'll talk about that later.
so she's like, Beehive's my cousin. I didn't know who Beehive was, but
Yeah.
yes, I was like, all right, so Beehive's Jay's cousin. So I'm like, so you Jay's cousin. Like, long story short, I was like, we need that plug. You know what I'm saying? So she thought we wanted to, because I was around with my partners at the time, and she was like, well, if y'all want to give me a demo, you know, you can give me a demo. He was like, nah, we want a job. Like, we want to learn the business. I like that. My thing was, I was thinking long term. So we showed up that summer, me and my man, and Dara McIntosh, you know, shout out to her. She was like,
Dara, Yelly, Shaka,
yeah, Omi, yeah, yep.
really
Shaka
the
was giving me
whole
my
crew.
first position, man. And they was like, we don't hire college students, like, cause y'all want money. She was like, we get $50 a week to interns, and we was like, we'll take it. Let's do it. What we gotta do. So that whole summer, we showed up. We showed up every day. We worked. We called request lines. We did. I'm in the middle of an interview.
Yeah, but
You want to say hi?
no, I just asking that Carol that he was holding his line to Queen, and after that he broke
Might as
the
well say
wheel.
hi.
He broke the wheel off of his line McQueen.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Can you go now? Thank you.
Yeah, he broke the
All right.
wheel. And he pulled it off.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Close the door.
See, that's why I'm sitting in the car.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like I said, my wife left me.
Nah, you can't do that well.
we all daddy here. Let's get that straight.
Yeah,
three fathers right now. Let's make sure we put that on tape.
Sorry about that. But yeah, so I got interning, and then when Shaka Pilgrim was the one that basically told me and my partner, like, yo, y'all need jobs. Like, it's summer, y'all getting $50 a week. I'm hook y'all up with the Department of Employment. Her father worked there, rest in peace to him. And you know, she got us a job. And then at that time, we still wanted to be connected. So she was like, go with Lenny, go join the street team. You can work at night and still have a job and still be connected to us. So we did that. So that was my introduction to Lenny S. and Bert. And you know, we went hard with the street team at night, worked during the day. Like, we made sure we stayed connected. We started going to shows. We started just making sure that, you know, we were in. So by the time I got back to school, Lenny would send us stuff. And that was actually the beginning of my break into the industry, because when we started recording songs in school, Ray from Rockefeller, one of my dudes, Mark from the Bronx, gave the tape to Ray telling people in Rockefeller, yo, we heard you all right. And that's how, you know, the buzz started going around that we actually rap, because we didn't tell anybody that. I didn't even want them to think of me as rapper, you know, until we were ready. Like, we really was like, yo, we gonna get better. You know, that was it. So that was my initial connection. And then years later, when I started getting serious, 2002, 2003, I would go Lenny always had an open door. And I would go and I would pop the CD in, and I would say, all I want to know is, should I get a job? Don't tell me if it's whack or not. Just tell me, am I wasting my time? And he would always say, keep going. You know what I mean? And then those meetings turned into, hey, I got paperwork from On Top. Hey, I got paperwork from Desert Storm. Hey, I got the Unsigned Hype in the Store. Now he's like, wait, let me listen again. Like, maybe I'm missing something.
And to mention Get Better, I still listen to that to this day, bro.
April Williams, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but go ahead, Ian. I'm not trying to take over the.
No, that's all good.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. Now with that, you have a certain drive with your music, and it shows how relatable it is. But it's not just that it's relatable; it's how you deliver it, and it's similar to when you read a book. A book is just words. You put the imagery there in an eloquent way that not everybody's capable of doing.
Appreciate that.
Just tell us how that comes to be every time, you know, when you're putting out music.
I don't know, man. I think it might be the way I started recording. I think because we started, and I go back to Delaware State, like, we started using the radio station when it was closed. My boy had a job in there, so we would go in there afterwards and we recorded on this rolling 360 machine. And in order to get it done, it was one take. So if somebody messed up, you had to start over. So that made me focus on my diction. That made me, think to myself, all right, I got to get this done. So I started focusing on one take and just trying to I would do whole songs straight through. And that made me, really focus on being eloquent and getting the words out. And like I said, just my main focus was thinking about people that don't like rap. Like if you don't care about hip hop, you don't care about rap. I was trying to break the mold of the typical MC, so to speak, because I knew I wasn't the thuggiest. I knew I didn't have a jail record. I knew that I wasn't on one side of the spectrum as far as being a ladies' man. I knew my market and my lane wasn't specific, right? So I had to figure out, who am I? What do I do well? And I'm a human being, and I have all of these different facets and different sides of myself. So I wanted to bring that across. So the best way to bring that across is to make you feel like I'm you, but I'm doing it in a way that it's poetic and that it feels like, all right, yeah, you me, but I can't write like that, so to speak. I can't say the way you say it, but I appreciate you, getting the messages out. And that's how I viewed myself, and that's what I wanted to do. I think, like I said, I was a little bit ahead. I think that there are artists that I paved the way for that told me that, and I'm happy that they're able to do it because I'm doing other things. But yeah, that was my focus.
Nice.
That's dope.
So fast forward up to 2000s, 2003. You're coming out of New York City. Who was the people that you was kind of coming up with at that time? It was like the Sky Zoos and the Torres, and there was a bunch of MCs at that time. And I'm gonna tell my little story real quick.
Yeah, talk about it. You talk about it because you was ahead too.
Yeah, so I was working with Sky at the time. I was working with you at the time, and Torre. We was all in a circle. I remember we was doing stuff, and I was, for the life of me, man, I was trying to get the three of y'all together, and not as a per se group, but like, let's rebrand New York City. Let's call it the Gotham Circuit. You know what I mean? And let's get the three of y'all brothers at the helm of that movement, that culture. You know what I'm saying? So I still pray and I hope one day, man.
One day, right?
We all in Atlanta now, so
yeah. I mean, I'm in North Carolina, so you know what I'm saying. But hope and pray one day y'all brothers can sit down and do a project together. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got to be the Gotham Circuit, but that idea that you guys kind of were leading the charge at that moment of like the underground scene with the MCs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I thought the issue at the time with New York was just, our brand was very stagnant at the time, still kind of stagnant somewhat, but we needed a new identity, a new brand, something that we can kind of just give y'all guys a whole new, fresh, open room to perform in, per se. You know what I mean? So that's what that whole idea. So hopefully.
Nah, you were so ahead, and I talked about this with them. We were just in different spaces at different times. So when I hit the mainstream and I was signed to Virgin, my view was different. I'm thinking I'm out of here. I'm thinking I'm about to go and be the next Brooklyn superstar. And when it almost a year and a half later, here I am, coming to you like, man, I need a video. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on with my life. I think your idea was I think your idea was before that though, like, because Sky was comfortable. Yeah, we all wanted the mainstream fame. We all wanted the record deal, but I think Sky was really, really comfortable once he got with Ninth, and then they got the Primo records, and they were in a lane that I couldn't touch because I wasn't on that underground, level. And they had already solidified themselves. So by the time I figured out, okay, mainstream isn't going to work, independent route is here, they were already out of here, So it was, like I said, it's at different times. Now we've all remained cool and remained close, but I think what you said, what you were talking about was what was missing from a lot of the and Griselda is showing you that. You know, Wu-Tang showed you that. Atlanta showed you that. Like it's people love connection. And as much as we know it, it's just like we don't do it. You know, Marvel wasted years dropping X-Men over here, Fantastic Four over here, Spider-Man over here. The moment they put it together, the world changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the world changed.
Yeah.
You know
by design, it wasn't gonna per se hinder any of our individual situations. It was more or less kind of just creating an atmosphere. You know what I'm saying?
When you have crews and crews and crews, that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? I got my team, and if you bring that to them, they're like, "What? We don't need that." You know what I'm saying? Like that's how New York was. It would have taken you to be on some I'm shooting 10 videos for the album, like 10 songs. I'm shooting all 10 videos. Shut up. Meet me here. Like you know what I'm saying? You would have had to like smack us.
It would have been a task.
Yeah, it would have been one of those where I see the vision. You know what I'm saying? And that at the time it wasn't there.
All right. So now from that moment, you talked about it, like we got into doing the videos and stuff like that. And at that moment that we were doing the videos, that still was kind of early on in the digital game. You know what I'm saying? Like
it was.
Yeah, people still wasn't really taking digital too seriously per se. You know what I mean? I think the Canon XL1s were out at that time, and Panasonic was getting in the game. And so we were out there just, how did we meet? I don't even remember specifically. Maybe KK reached out to me or something like that, but it might have even been related to Yelly and them or something. But
I don't remember.
However we met. And, from day one, we talked and you talked about doing the videos and stuff like that. And I was right at the cusp of kind of doing a lot of indie stuff with digital at the time too, when everybody was shitting on us and saying digital wasn't shit and all that other stuff. And now look at that, whatever. But anyway, we started doing videos, man. We had a good run of doing some really good videos at that moment before that whole rush of people jumping on digital was happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was your outlook on how all that run went? Because how many videos we did? About 2 or 3 or 4, maybe? I don't remember.
Well, we tried to do Famous. I think that was the first one that didn't work. With the green screen and the girls and the bottles.
I was trying to be on some like high tech shit, man. I was ahead of my fucking self.
Yeah. Nah, you were. I mean, at the time, man, it was we had the record. Like Famous would have worked. If I was still on Virgin, we all know out of here, right? And I credit you with saying, all right, let me try to help you get this popping by coming to them with a video, because I was right in the middle of two labels and I couldn't get anyone to budge. But that didn't work, so we did Brooklyn Stand Up. And that was that was perfect. That was exactly who I was.
I love that video, man. To this day, man. It's just I think I had a lot of fun just shooting it. We was driving around Brooklyn. We went all I think we just needed that as Brooklyn heads, you know what I'm saying? Just go around.
It was needed. And that was your choice. Look at You was your choice, and we shot that in a couple of hours. On the street. You was like, yo, this gotta have a video. We gotta do it. I'm coming, let's do it right now.
I always wanted to Get Better though.
Yeah, that was the next one in the tongue. Yeah. That would have been monumental, man. I think the treatment was crazy too. What we were trying to do.
Yeah. But I don't mean to reminisce too much. I know you want to talk about some new stuff too, but I just
it's all good.
Nah,
just want to kind of throw that out there too, man. But like, where was the shift for you into manhood rhymes? What I like to call adult contemporary hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, where, okay, you gravitated from lyricism and showing and proving what you was capable of. And you was a storyteller then, but now, like, I think once you got into your grown man vibe, them stories, man, like, and just the way you present them and execute them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still to this day I can't compare it to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So was that a conscious choice, or just that's how just things just kind of manifested and moved into his way?
I think there
was life like, the big question was life just really getting on you? Was you pissed off at the industry? And you know what I'm saying? Were you just tired of this shit and you just like, look, I gotta change it up and just going, like you said earlier, just be straight up and real. But you kind of you went into overgrind with the realness. You know what I'm saying? Because you say shit that as a man and a father and all that I could really like understand, and it sticks to me more. You know what I mean? So. Like, where did that come from?
Experience. I think in 08 when I did the 12 mixtapes, right? I was purging because I had hit this point, this low point where I didn't know what was next in life, and I think I was about to be 30, and I was really struggling. You know, my girl was in Atlanta. We were having this long distance relationship. I didn't know what I wanted to do next, and then in 09 I dropped My Soul to Keep, and I listened to that like 2 weeks ago, and it sounded so sad. Like I was. Love. And I realized I was, you know, even the BPMs were low. I was like, man, this is, I was purging again. Like I was down, you know what I'm saying? And I was mad at maybe the industry or just people, but I couldn't put a finger on it, right? And then when I finally got to Atlanta in 2011, I think that's when I came to your radio show and I rhymed. And I watched
Combat Jet, PNC Radio. We was up there. At PNC Radio. Combat had opened the door for me to do a show called The Usual Suspects with Remy and DJ Wonder. DJ Boy Wonder. And I remember. I said that video's still up too.
I watched it earlier this year, and I think that was 2012 actually. And I watched the way I rhymed, and it was like I was talking, right? And I was actually, as I was saying the words, I was thinking about them because I was really searching. I did a joint called The Calling, and I was really like figuring out like what am I supposed to be doing? And I was okay with it. And I think that was the first time in 2012 where I became okay with not knowing. So I moved to Atlanta. Now, mind you, in my mind, I'm like, all right, I had a record deal. I've had, you know, thousands of dollars in the account. I've been on MTV, BET. I'm feeling like I'm entitled to be something and somebody. And I kind of start over, and my guy convinces me to get into education, and I start substitute teaching. So I walk in the classroom and introduce myself as Mr. Williams, and my ego just drops. You know, I just shed it all, you know. And throughout that year, when I started recording and creating songs, it was no longer about the industry. It was no longer about telling people I was nice. It was no longer about trying to do anything. It was just, what do I feel? What do I want to say? Use music. That's it. It was like I no longer had an agenda. I no longer had a goal other than paying my rent, because I did the rent tape series. So I was like, I'm just going to charge people $5, put out these EPs, and whatever comes out, comes out. And I literally was purging. Like I listened back, I was like, man, I was afraid of dying. I was afraid of working a job. I was afraid of just who I was gonna be. You know, I was afraid of being a father. Could I ever be a husband? Me and my girl had broke up. It was just like I just didn't know. And I was like, if I didn't have music, I don't know what I would have done, because the idea of not being here, it kept playing in my mind. You know, I kept thinking, they're not going to love me until I'm gone. They're not going to tweet about me until I'm not here. Like, I just kept thinking about that. And I was like, those aren't healthy thoughts, but you don't think that, you know, that that's not healthy thought. You just think, you know, what you're thinking. So I look back and I'm like, that was the point where music became therapeutic. Music became release. Music just became music. It was no longer trying.
And the thing is, when you were releasing those monthly tapes, like you were explaining about your personal experiences, what you're going through, that was the beauty of those mixtapes. Each one had its own character. And you displayed that character beautifully. And
Thank
it
you.
wasn't just how you displayed it. These are real life things that you're talking about that people have to make decisions about.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was going through it, the 9 to 5, the chills. I was really just thinking
Mhm.
about life. Like, what does this mean? I had friends commit suicide. I had, like I said, I'm dealing with my girl who's now my wife, but we had broken up. So now I'm like questioning who am I in a relationship? You know what I'm saying? All this time I've
Mhm.
been rapping these misogynistic lyrics, and to your point, T, is like, all right, do I want to be a father? Like, the Smelly Cat song is on my discography, and now I'm sitting here thinking about possibly having a daughter one day. What does that look like?
Mhm.
Luckily I had sons, but these are all real thoughts. And to your earlier point, I was like, every artist is not spitting about this stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
So this is
Mhm.
me saying, all right, this is my lane. Just put it out there, you know.
Mhm. What when you hear the words adult contemporary hip hop, like what do you think about that? And do you think that it's kind of necessary for us to kind of gravitate towards utilizing that category as an actual thing, being that there is a distinct difference between what we would call grown man music and
Hmm.
um youth music. I'm not gonna call it young or
Yeah,
let's just call it youth music in hip hop right now. And when you think about the verses and everything that's happening, are we at the point where the 40 and over crowd, 35, 40 and over crowd is just as prominent as the young crowd? I mean, it's never going to be equal, but I think we have a base, an economic base as a demographic that, I mean, can sustain tours and
yeah,
album sales and merch and things like that at this point. But it's kind of like when rock came out and it was like classic rock and
yeah,
whatever rock and all that other stuff. Did that that might have served purposes to those categories, that they would have been
totally.
able to build their industries out of those categories. So if we
Yeah,
have adult contemporary hip hop as a legit category, is that something that we can build as an industry? And do you find your music fitting directly in that category?
totally. I think you hit it right on the head. I think adult contemporary. I think my boy Chris Classic calls it mortgage rap. Yeah, that it's. I've always said that hip hop needs genres, and I think that's the issue. I see it sometimes the posts in HHDG. People are talking about young rap and dissing some trap artists and stuff like that. Like, it just needs different genres. Like, if you break it up into different lanes, then you have your lane. And
Mhm.
I think underground is different from adult contemporary, because I don't think I necessarily have an underground sound, but I think I have a mature sound. And yes, that demographic, it's a new demographic, because hip hop is a new genre in terms of its age. Like, this is new, that artists are 40 and 50 and still doing it, still
Mhm.
relevant. So
Mhm.
the only difference, and I don't know if you ever thought about this, is the way the consumers support. Because
Mhm.
when classic rock and adult contemporary R&B came out, everything was the same. It was radio, it was buy a CD. That was it. Or buy vinyl or whatever that. But you knew how to support an artist. You knew record sales. That was the only thing. Now, if
Mhm.
you see the verses with Kane and KRS, the views were somewhere around 200,000. People my age aren't necessarily buying albums. You know, they might stream something, but they're not necessarily buying. They don't know how to support. As
Mhm.
it's not the same. So we have to figure out what's the best way for someone that's in their late 30s to early 40s. How do you get them to show up? How do you
Mhm.
get them, to show up for an artist that may not be quote unquote new, or may not be known, but in their 40s, or that they just like
Mhm.
I have a podcast. How do I get subscribers to show up? You know what I'm saying? It's hard for people to just click a button. They're not used to it. And then we come from a generation where everybody's an artist. So
Mhm.
that's another thing. It's hard for people to support. Um, So we just need to figure out a way to get the word out and get people to just show love, man. Just show love. That's the tough part.
Definitely. And that's where I'm going to jump in at, because I do my best to work the angles of social media, not just be out there with all the negativity, but I make an effort to put out and let people know what music is out there they'd be worth checking out. And I mean, people complain about, oh, Facebook this or Instagram that, or I don't use Twitter, but take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They knew how to go get an album. They knew how to rip open that package and read the credits and tell your boy, yo, this was hot. This was that. They knew how to do that. Now it's like, it's so many ways to consume. We don't even have the hip hop game website. That was a thing 10 years ago or 15 years ago actually, where there was blog site that people would go to. Now it's like, how do you get the new music? How do you consume it? How do you support it? That's tough.
Now I want to rewind just a little bit and ask you, what's up with the Overtime CD? What made you want to go back to this and then just amp it up?
I think it was the way I approached My Soul to Keep. I think Sean Price actually, when he heard it, he was like, "Yo, man, your album is dope, but it don't sound like a debut. It sound like people that knew you already had to like it." Like, he was like, you didn't really kill it. You kind of just, I forgot how he described it, but he was like, if I didn't know you, because he knows me, he was like, yo, if I didn't know you, I wouldn't have rocked with it. So I was like, and that made me think. And rest in peace to Sean Price. Like, I was like, okay, let me go back in on these joints and rap. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I was pouring my heart out, or I was letting go of sadness, and I was like, you know what, I need to just rap. And so that was my motivation, man. I don't know, I did too much. Too much, all over the place.
Blasphemy is still one of my favorites off of that.
Oh yeah, you see, that was another one. People thought I was dissing God or dissing Muslims or this. So I was like, I gotta go back in and just say something, say something else, man. Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but Ian is like we call him Wiki. He's like a savant when it comes to information on his hip hop shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially a lot of underground heads and like, you know what I mean? So
I didn't know until I saw the post. I was like, yo, this guy had yo, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
I be feeling like I'm out the spotlight. So, it was much love. I appreciate it.
He's the archivist, man. I'm sure he can go on about every album and producers and all that other stuff, man.
I love it.
So Sha, like you've been around, you've been in the industry behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and let's just even say the last decade, or not even decade, let's just say you've been around for the last 20 years, man. You've seen the Sean Prices come and go. You've seen, like what's your vibe on where we at as just grown men in our 40s and 50s at this point with this industry? You know what I mean? What do you think is the next level? What is there going to be more of 40-year-olds being able to come out for the first time? Like, is that opening up? Like, what do you think is about where's the culture going right now?
I think there's a shift coming. I think the Griselda movement definitely opens things up for older artists. I think what we talked about earlier with the Gotham circuit is the way for something like that to happen. Like right now, me, Sky, Torre, Chris Classic, Mickey Fax, a bunch of us that are in Atlanta, if we would have come together and say this is our collective, whether it's Gotham or the Giants or whatever we come up with, and give people a connection, and we're on the same vibe. Again, we're not trying to do anything. We're just saying, hey, we all rock together. We're gonna put out music, and it's a vibe. So something like that opens the door, and that would allow older guys to reach a new demographic, because that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
So
And
I
Sha,
do think.
remember, I got full documentary footage of all
Oh,
three of y'all.
yeah,
I was
we need that.
shooting non-stop when I was around you, when I was around Sky Zoo, traveling
Yep,
when he was
Dunny.
doing Necessary Evils and stuff, and when I was doing his
Yeah,
Necessary Evils video, and then Torre, I got us all hanging out in Coney Island, hopping
wow,
on the train, going up to Fat Beats. Like I have
crazy.
all of that stuff, hours and hours. So we can put the complimentary documentary
Yeah.
next to that, make an NFT out of this shit.
Ooh,
You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Come
yeah.
on, man. Let's
Nah,
get Sky
listen,
and
you know I'm
Torre
with
off.
it. Listen, you know how many guys I convinced to move to Atlanta, man, and they call me like, "Yo, you got me."
Yeah, yeah,
Mickey Fax called me like, "Yo, man, you got me, I'm here."
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's they here, so
Mickey
we could
Fast
definitely
too.
do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
I was hooking him up with KRS-One. We did some stuff when I was up at Rap City producing. And so
Wow.
Mickey Fast is in the mix too, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I remember you was there when I did was that back room? No, that wasn't back room. That was on the deal with
Mm.
Memphis. Remember Wyclef was there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
that's why
should.
he was there. That's why he
Yeah,
was there. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
producing I think I might have produced that episode and I
On the
had you
deal.
come
Yeah,
on.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to
That
the
was.
deal too.
Yeah,
Shot. So
yeah,
let me
yeah.
ask you a quick, random ass question, and it's only
Okay.
because me and you know each other. What what were you doing at Jay-Z's mastering session when I saw you that time when we brought PSA in? And
Oh,
you remember you were there, remember you was
yeah,
in
yeah, 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 yeah. I was
what
there. I
what
was there.
what was you doing back then?
That was Len, man. Me and Len was he was. I think he was managing me at the time. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. I don't think I wasn't signed 'cause it was '03.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so yeah. Well, and actually, he wasn't managing yet. That was the initial time when I was bringing stuff,
Yeah.
and he kind of caught wind of he started liking it. I think he heard the first mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you the way around that time. So
Okay.
this is yeah, he had heard the mixtape, and then he was like, "Yo, you got more of this?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he just started inviting me to stuff. So
Yeah,
I came to
yeah,
the mastering session, and I was a fly on the wall, man. I just sit there,
yeah.
quiet,
We had
listen.
we bought PSA in
Yeah,
that moment when I saw you. That was
yep,
us literally bringing PSA in for the mastering session there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So historic
yeah. That
times,
was
man. And shout out to
yes,
Flatbush, man.
yes. Flatbush, always Flatbush in the building, man. Yeah,
That's
man.
dope.
Yeah, man.
Now let's
Okay.
stay on the topic of footage because
Okay.
just recently this year, you got a mini documentary out.
Yeah, well, it's in festivals right now. But yep.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
the start right there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a start. The Sherrod documentary, man. Shout out to my dude Will Fegans, who after asking me for many years to tell my story, I was like, man, nobody want to hear about this crap. I was trying to get him to merge it with like me and two other artists of, just a story of ascension and just real life.
Mhm.
But he was like, nah, I think I just want to tell yours. I was like, okay. So it was supposed to be 10 minutes. And I think when we talked and he started getting footage and realized he had, had so much stuff with me over the years, he made it 30. So our vision was to do a real one and get, more people, get my moms and other people involved. But around that time, COVID hit, so we had to pull it back. But that was the goal and the vision. But yeah, it's the Sherrod documentary, man. It's just me talking about um, real life. Just this whole thing we talked about, from realizing that music wasn't everything, becoming a family man, not seeing that coming, how I approached it, how I put it back into the music, and just seeing life going one way, having to go another way, and being okay with it. I think that's what the real story is. That was and I didn't realize how common that story was. 'Cause
That's the
yeah,
whole industry, man.
I know. But I told him, I said, I need some either tragedy or triumph sales, right? So I
Mhm.
said the triumph is good, but it ain't astronomical yet. So I was like, come back to me later. But I think it's a good start.
Mm.
Yo, to that point, man. I'm gonna bring up a name you probably remember, Demi. I had worked so much with this with her, and she got signed to Atlantic, I
Atlantic.
remember.
Yeah, with Bruce
And I
Wayne.
bring her
Yeah.
story up not to just talk about her, but just to say that just in my, and I came from the TV and video side, and just alone, I've seen hundreds of people come into the game that like
Yeah.
families were ready to life-changing situations and all of that stuff. The money that they put in, the time, and I remember she was doing all this exercise and had to wear these plastic suits and doing all this. We did the showcase and all this work.
We had listening sessions where they played like 30 Demi songs.
Yeah, we had Craig Carlman there and all this other stuff.
Everything.
And like I said, she's just one of thousands of stories that happen every year. Not even just like, if not every week. In these record labels, man. When what we see is only what they say 1% of what comes through them businesses, man. And those are the stories that bug me out. Just having seen so many people come in and they life changing, their kids is expecting their life to change, and all this time, the energy that they spend away from the kids, and only for it to like a boyfriend is now interrupting, or somebody feels a way about somebody, so they just stop fucking with them like that, or they start sabotaging their shit. This industry is full of them stories, man.
It is. I think it's the talented ones that really perplex people, which is why I get the questions a lot of times. And it's just imagine you wanting that to not happen to you and then seeing it coming slowly as the game changes and as the world changes. And you just can't grab it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came into the game, the industry was one way. And then all of a sudden it's switching right before my eyes. And I was ahead because nobody was on the internet. I was on Hip Hop Game. I'm on All Hip Hop. I'm on all these websites. We go into Virgin Records with printouts of website articles. We actually had printouts of everything we're doing online, and they looking at the printouts and like, what is this? Where's your spins? And we like, nah, this is next. This is it. They're like, whatever. And then a year later, I converse with Joel Ortiz, or I converse with J. Cole years down the line, and Mickey Fax and all these people, and they say, yo, we was watching what y'all was doing. And that's how, but Kanye had opened the world up for this lane of human beings that rapped. And now the 2009 freshman cover featured all of these human beings, guys that weren't necessarily gangsters, or they weren't drug dealers, weren't flossing, they didn't have money. It was the Kid Cudis, it was Wale, it was Mickey Fax, Corey Guns, like
Corey Guns. Shout out to Corey Guns, bro.
Asher Roth, Charles Hamilton, all these guys, and I'm sitting here like
Charles Hamilton.
I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, well, I just told y'all I wanted to be myself, right?
Wasn't Wiz around that time, or he was a cover after?
Wiz was two covers after, but they all had
Kendrick and all of it.
They all were birthed from that same ideology that now the gangster and the drug dealer and the rich hip hop artist wasn't necessarily the norm. You didn't have to come into the game and be this elite superstar. You just had to either be good or be in your lane or do what you do, whether it's skateboarding, whether it's wearing tight clothes, whether it's, making the type of music you make. And it was blowing my mind because I was like, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. I was here first. And it was too late. It was too late because you couldn't tell me, yo, tweet more in 2009, right? Or 2010. And me be like, all right, let me do it, or go online more and do things. And I'm like, nah, that's not how I was raised, to get out on the street, spit for people, hand out these mixtapes, go do these shows. Like, that's how I was raised. So it took 4 years almost for me to come around and be like, all right, let me get on here and promote myself from my house. So I went somewhere else, but that was that's how it happens. Just to give people an understanding that when waves change,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can feel like overnight. You know,
Yeah.
it can
Yeah.
it can really punch you in your mouth. Like you can be doing things one way, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we doing that now. Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Podcasts, right? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. What's up with your podcast, man?
man, it's real early, man. It's real early, but it's called No Bars Off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we right now we living on YouTube. I think my downfall is that we put so many clips on Instagram, so people think they've seen the whole episode just by looking on Instagram. But it's okay. It's early, so I had this idea probably around March, man. Just I wanted to highlight lyricism. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to I feel like we complain so much about what we don't like with the game. And as I was listening to certain songs, I was just breaking them down in my head. And I was like, you know what? This would be dope if I could just do this, you know, in a bigger scale. So I called my man. I was like, yo, how would you feel about doing a show? And then, you know, this is somebody I went to college with. We've been doing this for years. So we jumped on it and then started mapping it out, and now, you know, it's called No Bars Off. We go over some of our favorite hottest verses and break them down, you know, annotate, just go in on them, man. And it's feeling good. It's real early, but it's feeling good.
Nice. And where you said they could see that at?
YouTube, yeah, YouTube, No Bars Off Show, nobarsoff.com. The IG is No Bars Off Show. Yeah, so it's like I said, it's early, but it's dope, man. It's and we take a lot of suggestions. So if anybody has, we all have our favorite verses. We all have verses that either we know or we hear, we rewind. So I had a playlist that was called No Bars Off, and I was like, man, this is a show. So the it's limitless. Like when you think about it, it's like it could go on and on and on because we got old verses, whether it's something from the 80s that you love, something from the 90s, 2000s, or even something brand new. And young, old, it don't matter. It don't matter who it is. Sometimes you just hear one of those verses where, you know, it moves you. Yeah, it moves you. So that's what like, we here to break down.
That's like the last episode with Black Rob.
Yeah. We wanted to give people, you know, we wanted to salute Black Rob and give him his flowers, man. You know, people don't regard him as a heavy bar spitter, but when I heard, you know, the verse on the joint No Fear, I was like, it moved me. You know what I'm saying? I felt it. So that was something I wanted to touch on. So we got a lot more coming. We shot more in the tuck. So we're gonna keep dropping them, man. And then we go live on like every other Friday just to give people a live feel of what it's like for us to play a song and kind of go through it. So it's been fun, man. I appreciate y'all support. I would love to get some more HHD people to just, you know, vibe with it and give us suggestions.
Definitely.
So
yeah. I like seeing y'all break it down because, you know, your expressions while you're listening to it,
it's authentic.
You're right into it, exactly.
Yeah, it's authentic, man. It's authentic. I want people to feel like, you know, how they feel when they listen to stuff and they go in on it. So it's a dope space, man. I'm excited about it because I can see the future and I can see where it could go. And I just love when people suggest stuff, even though they aren't suggesting it on the site yet. They're DMing me and texting me and sending me stuff. So once it goes public, you know, I think that's gonna be the dope part.
Definitely. And you forgot one thing about it.
What's that?
Oh, go ahead, Ian. My bad.
Oh yes.
What's
Some
that?
merch. This guy's supporter winning cop shirts. Man, so early collector's item, man. Appreciate it. Nah,
you still have some Brooklyn stand-up shirts? You ain't got no dead stop? No dead stop?
I might have some. I know I got a couple of legalized stimuli shirts. I might have some Brooklyn stand-up. I probably still got the shirt from the video. the shirts was so big, man. I don't know what we was doing, man. I used to wear two shirts.
Everybody was wearing big stuff back then, though.
At that, come on, man. At that time, it just was what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'll be remiss to not talk about Brooklyn with you for a quick minute. You know what I'm saying? All the Brooklyn MCs don't live in Brooklyn no more. So what? Even Kane is in Raleigh. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
that's right. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know what defines the Brooklyn MC at this point? I'm like Fab is not in Brooklyn. Like even most ain't in Brooklyn. I don't know about Talib, but like I'm saying like, you know, being in Brooklyn is what kind of fed us that soul. You get what
It
I'm
did.
saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure, you know, we all say Brooklyn is a planet, is the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with a lot of native Brooklyn MCs not natively in Brooklyn anymore, what is the quintessential Brooklyn MC in 2021, 2022 at this point?
I mean, I don't live there, so the essence of it, I can't even
Even
grasp.
like Pop Smoke, you know what I'm saying? Like he
Right.
wasn't he was in Cali, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jay-Z, you know, I know he ain't been in Brooklyn in a minute, but I'm saying he's in Cali too. Like it seems like the art is not coming directly out of there's Brooklynites, but not the art is not coming directly from Brooklyn anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, it's not coming from New York at all. You know, and
Yeah.
that's I want to say it's unfortunate because we've always been trendsetters. But I
Yeah.
do believe in things tipping. Um, I just feel like Atlanta had its pulse on they took over for so many years and they had the bigger artists and they got the support from New York and it started in 2002. It started really early, probably '04, '05 when the Shot Boys and all of the lean with it, rock with it. It was cool and fun to play the Yin Yang Twins in the club, and all of a sudden, DJ started competing to see who could break the South record in the North, and
Mm-hmm.
then they started caring more
Soldier Boy.
about the Soldier Boy. They started
Soldier
caring more
Boy.
about the party reaction, which is what was their job, than pushing the music forward and pushing the culture forward. And
Mhm.
that's okay because we were outnumbered. If you think about it, it's New York, and then it's the rest of the U.S. And then
Mhm.
you had Drake from Canada kind of just take over. And what bothered me the most was the sound. That the sound became uniform. That the trap sound. Um, it's not like when we were coming up in the early 2000s where if I heard a crazy beat, I would make an ugly face, and
Mhm.
it was because whether it had soul to it, you could
Mhm.
hear the producer felt something and did some work to create it. It was a different percussions. It was change ups. It was just so much. And this is not coming from an old man perspective. This is coming from
Mhm.
a talent and just looking back and saying this is something that was creative as
Mhm.
opposed to a uniform sound. Um, and that's the scary part because they've taken something that had so much diversity and now when you hear a beat, when the drums are coming in, when the hi-hats are coming in, when here comes the kick, like you know the drops, you understand that it can be done on Fruity Loops in minutes, um, and that's different, right?
Yeah.
And then you take the vocal side of it, auto tune now has become the standard. So not only do you have similar production, you got similar vocals. So
Mhm.
what is that saying? They're saying that the listener doesn't want much variety, right? They just want to know what's coming. They don't need to have different individuality and originality. They just want the same, the same, the same. So
Mhm.
New York has fell victim because how do you break out of that? Like
Mhm.
how do you break out of that without being categorized as old? Someone has to be bold enough to go new.
Mhm.
They have
Mhm.
to be bold enough to say, I'm going to do something different. I think Pop
Mhm.
Smoke had a decent lane because he had some variety, uppity music, and
Mhm.
he was going somewhere with it. But at the same time, when that content is what it is, you setting yourself up.
Mhm.
These guys in Chicago are murdering each other,
Mhm.
and we got to take a look at the plan behind this, man. Like this is our music, and
Mhm.
all we doing is talking about what we gonna do to each other.
Mhm.
it got to be some variety, man. We got to figure that out. So I don't, to answer your question, I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't know where the influence is going to come from. I want it to come from the youth. I do think things will tip, but me now working in education, I know for a fact that kids are not comfortable being themselves. They're not. They're not. They would rather talk about the choppers and the sticks and the ratchets and the burners, whether they have them or not, because that's what it is. So that's what the music reflects, and then they follow the music, and it's a weird cycle, man. But somebody's gonna have to do something, and I think adult contemporary hip hop can help.
I think so.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Ian.
Oh, I want to link back to when you were talking about the documentary Sherrod. When did you first start working on it?
I thought it was 2019, but apparently some of the footage he got was 2018. So yeah, I think around 2018, 2019, I think he started coming by getting interviews and B-roll, just catching me with the kids and talking about my story. But 2019, I think, was when we really, went in, and Will was coming by my house and just talking to me. Yeah. But we've had the idea, or he's had the idea for years. So he's always been just catching footage. He's done a few of my videos out here. So he always had a lot of footage of me at shows and things like that. And just admired the story and the progression. So it's been a minute.
Okay.
Yo, let me know, man. I'll contribute. I got all that
I know you got, shoot. Listen.
Yeah, it ain't
Trying
nothing
to
but
Netflix with it.
ain't nothing but digitizing some tapes,
Yeah.
Hey, HHDG had a drive-in
Yeah.
down in NC, and your premiere was a drive-in for
Yes.
documentary.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I couldn't make it, but it was it was on the drive-in, man. So a lot of people rocked with it. So
Nice.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. All right, Ian.
Now, what I was going to ask him, he also wrote a book. We didn't get to speak about that yet.
That's right.
Yes.
Strong words for the week.
Yes.
And this actually ties into your music as well.
Right. Yeah. It was inspired by that tough year, 2012, that I was talking about, and just battling those strange thoughts of not wanting to be here and using music as a tool. So I kind of started to write. I started to journal somewhat. I just didn't know I was journaling, and I realized how much it helped me once I went back to it. So I wanted to create kind of an open book journal of rap verses that I had that kind of got me through certain points, and then I would tell stories about the verses, kind of breaking them down. And then I have action items at the end of each chapter. So I wanted people to read one every week. It's 26 of them. So the goal was to read one of the strong words for the week for half of the year. But everybody says they just read it straight through. So my marketing went out the window. But that was the idea. So it's verses, rhythmic verses. Also inspired by my boy Shamelo Durant. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Shamelo.
Yeah, we had a conversation probably a month before he passed, and he told me about his book, and I told him I had a book, and we both was self-publishing, but we both used companies to kind of do the self-publishing. So he was giving me some tips on that, and before we got off the phone, I had purchased his book, and he passed before mine came out, and it was just tough, man. Like I didn't even know what to say. Like just to hear somebody's voice and to hear all the life and the ideas and the things that he had in mind. And even if we hadn't spoken in years, it was like, you reconnect with somebody and you just get inspired by a conversation.
Yeah.
And it makes you move, and then they gone. And you're just thinking like why? You know what I'm saying? Like what was that about?
Yeah.
So I
And
feel
Stimuli
blessed
was
to
a good dude too, man. He was
man,
a good dude.
man, so
Yeah,
positive. So
yeah.
positive. So, I felt blessed to be able to put it out. And I think in the same regards of me doing the music and not having goals and not worrying about, how it who it reaches or how many it reaches. Anytime I get one person to say, yo, it helped, I think that's it. So I'm very, very grateful that I was able to get it out because sometimes a lot of these moves are divine. You know what I'm saying? You don't really understand why you're doing it. You don't really, put a reason or a label on things. You just kind of move with the spirit, and that was one of those things where I moved with the spirit, and I'm glad I got it out.
That's
Yeah,
great. That's great.
it's on Amazon. Strong words for the
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. I'm currently reading this Star Wars novel called Ronin. So once I'm done with that, I'll be reading my
Oh,
copy.
oh man, appreciate it. Thank you, man. Support, boy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Star Wars, they're a master at connection. They were original
Mm-hmm.
connecting their movies and you know creating. So that's something that we all got to do.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Now I wanted to do a little kind of segue with your no bars off.
Okay.
The intro is one of my favorite tracks off your Lazarus album called Jail University.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Peep that.
So how about you break down one of the lines from Jail University for us?
Which one?
The beginning.
Okay. What I don't know
Let
how
me
any of
see.
that
Hold on
goes.
a second.
I know it should have went to prison. I'm not really good with all my rap. Uh,
Hold on a second.
is that is that when is that through jail over Yale? No, I don't think I started there. I don't remember where it started. I might have it in my phone somewhere. Um,
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Jail over Yale, Rikers over Rutgers, cell
okay.
instead of dorms, inmates for
Yep.
frat brothers.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean that whole song was inspired by it probably was inspired by King Magnetic. I don't know if you're familiar with King Magnetic.
Yes. Yep.
Um so he he always called me one of his favorite rappers, right? And King Magnetic is I don't know if you ever seen him. He's 6'9".
Yeah, he's
Um
talking. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's a big dude, right? And I remember him picking me up because he had me do a show in Pennsylvania. And he was like, yo man, you nice, you one of my favorite rappers. All you missing is a record. And I was like, I was like, a hot record? He was like, no, a jail record. He's like, that's all you
Hmm.
really missing. He was like, because you got it all. You just don't have the street cred or whatever, whatever. I don't know what he was trying to get at, but he was joking around, but I
Hmm.
could tell there was some seriousness in there. And Jail University was the only, well, one of the two verses I wrote in 2013 because I kind of retired from rap, and it was a spoken word piece. Really, it wasn't a song. I wrote it with no beat in mind.
Ah.
So when I was thinking jail over Yale, Rikers over Rutgers, you notice it's kind of like imagery. It's kind of poetic. I didn't hear it over a beat. I just wanted to kind of, get some finger snaps, like almost like it was just trying to give people an image that we glorify prison or negative things, or it was highlighting the space that I was in for years from 2001 to 2005, maybe where I didn't know I wasn't comfortable saying I was a college graduate that made it out cum laude. I wasn't comfortable saying that um, I grew up in a middle class home in Flatbush or lower middle class, whatever. But
Hmm.
there were certain things I just wasn't comfortable with because I felt like it would take me out of a certain lane as far as my fans were concerned. I felt like I needed to sell drugs. A lot of the criminal activity I did was after I got into the game, street cred in mind. Like I'm on the road, like I got to do this because that's the only way. Like no, you could work a job. It's okay.
Yep.
Like
Hmm.
you don't have to do this. But in my mind, I was like, if I rap, I gotta be in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how that song came to be. I was like, this is not the best idea. And I would come home from school, and when I graduated, nobody on the block cares. Like that's not a thing. but let somebody come home from a bed and it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I get it, I understand it, but I wrote a song about it. Like, you know, so that was my thing, and I just tried to come up with some cool ways of saying that with the jail, Yale, Rikers, Rutgers, Spofford, Harvard. You know, it's brilliant, but you know nobody cared.
Now, another track that hits in the same vein and was by one of my favorite producers, Focus, is your track "Homeless."
Ah, I like that one. Yeah, I don't like a lot of stuff I did, but that whole project was so dope. Just going to his crib out here when he lived in Georgia. The funny thing about Homeless, it was to a different beat at first, right?
Mm.
And Focus is competitive, right? But he's competitive with the rapper. And it was always funny to me because I'm not competitive, right? So with that particular joint, he was working on a beat, and I think I had started a rhyme maybe at home, but I didn't have it to a beat. So long story short, he's sitting at the board, I'm sitting behind him. He got it, working. Maybe 30 minutes go by. I say, yo, I got it. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. So I do the entire song, one take, straight through. Hook, two verses, whatever. And the way his room was set up, the board is there and I'm behind him. So he's not seeing me go. He turns around and he is like, the look on his face is like he saw a ghost. And in my mind, I'm like, I messed up a line. I knew I messed up a word or something. And then he played it back and I didn't hear it. I was like, wait, I thought I messed something up. And he kicked me out. He was like, yo, you gotta go. He was like, you gotta go, get out. You killed the beat. I gotta do a new beat. He's like, yo, how did you do that? I was like, what are you talking about? And in my mind, I'm like, yo, I thought I messed up a word. And I just couldn't, that was where I was thinking, because I like doing stuff straight through. But he's never recorded like that. People have recorded verse, do the verse again, perfect the verse, do the chorus, whatever. And I was like, nah. The way I was feeling that day, I wanted you to feel that on the song. So what you heard is that one take straight through.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
That's dope.
I really felt like I saw myself when I was rapping it. I saw myself homeless. I saw myself outside just rapping for food. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to get that point across. So yeah, that was the mission.
Wow. Now, being that basketball was one of your big things, now tell us how that is with your sons now. How's that feel? Because I see the videos.
Yeah. My 6-year-old is he's different, man. I didn't know he was different until I had the other one, and then I'm like, oh, so 2-year-olds can't just shoot from across the room? Like that's not a normal thing. So my 2-year-old is like, he'll run up and dunk it. Cairo, he'll dunk it here and there. But when Zaire was 18 months, he was shooting from deep, and we go to Chuck E. Cheese, and he would shoot on these rims with the regulation ball, and the rim would be moving, and he firing. And when he turned 5, he was shooting on regulation, which I couldn't do till I was like 10. So again, I don't know what he's gonna be. I don't know, because he was a puzzle master at 3, and reading, and he's very emotional, as you can see when he came in here. So yeah, I'm glad he at least had that natural ability, but I think what it shows is that he can see something and do it. I think that's what it is. So I don't think it's just basketball, but I am going to push it. I told them they have to play sports, like, because it's a distraction from madness out in the streets and in the world. So I'm gonna push them to play something. Basketball it'd be cool if they both were great. So we'll give you an update in a couple years.
You know what, man? Out of everything that you learned and the travels that you've been around, what do you think is the biggest lesson or a set of lessons you want to teach them from your experiences in the last 20 years in this industry? Even if it don't even have to be per se for the industry, but just what is the life lessons that you got out of your travels over the last 20 years that is one of the first things you want to get across to your sons when you know that they can comprehend what you're saying?
Man, it's so many. I think one of the big ones is to love yourself, you know,
Mhm.
and be confident in who you are and be okay with who you are. So all of that is encompassed by loving yourself, because my biggest fear is that they get out into this world, and like I said, I've been in education for almost 9, 10 years, and I see kids that they don't know themselves, they're not comfortable with who they are, or they try to project some different type of image, and it ends
Mhm.
up really really bad, and I
Mhm.
and I think it's probably specific to the young black male, which is why that's my first thought, because
Mhm.
I've seen, imagine seeing kids that you coach from 14, and you know who they are to their core, right? You can see at 14, this is either a sweet kid, a nice kid, a cool kid, smart kid, and now you look on Instagram, guns,
Mhm.
drugs, money stacks, and you're like,
Yeah.
what messages came in,
Mhm.
you know, that weren't filtered, where someone didn't say, hey, young man, it's
Yeah.
cool, it's all
Yeah.
right, be you, it's okay. Which
Mhm.
is why I mentor so many, and the ones I stay close to, I've seen the benefit of that. But
Mhm.
there are others that I see, and I'm like, nah, somebody needs to step in and be there. You know what I'm saying? So that's number one, man. That's number one. I've seen so many kids just take these turns, and
Mhm.
it's difficult. It's
Mhm.
difficult. It's one thing if you know, all right, this kid done seen some things and been through some shit. And you're like, all right, I know it's gonna be tough for them growing up, but it's others that get pushed in different directions. And I know me, for one, I loved myself, but I wasn't comfortable with myself. So that's why I had, the shy persona in college, or the stimuli persona in the industry. And it allowed me to compartmentalize, which I still love me though. It just, I didn't know who I was, so to
Mhm.
speak, in certain arenas. So for them, I want them to understand who they are and be okay with it, no matter, in whatever place they have to show up. And it's not always so easy, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we all as fathers deal with what we deal with. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? My son is
yeah.
13,
Ooh, that's the age.
and yeah, and a Gemini.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So is
That's
mine.
the age. Wow.
so
Woo,
yeah, so
yeah,
I mean I'm going through it with him right now, like,
yeah,
learning how to deal with these teenage things and
yeah.
other
It's a lot.
teenagers. Not even as much as just them turning a teenager in your C shop. It's that they're dealing with other teenagers
Yes.
Yeah.
with their ideologies and thought processes and all that
Yep.
other stuff that's kind of like slowly start seeping into your child's mentality, or your child can even be on the up and up but still has to
Yep.
deal with these situations, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so good luck.
That's no. I trust me. I know it because I see it with other kids. So I
Yeah,
know about the
Right.
influence of peers. Like it happens in
yeah,
kindergarten. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I know as a teen, it's
Yo,
really, really
Sha,
gotta.
my son came to me the other day and said some kid was in gym class showing some girl getting head.
And what do you do with that information? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now, do you
What?
have to be you cool, dad, and say what you say? Do you say that disrespect? Like,
You be
how
like,
do
oh
you
yeah,
even?
what was the name of the video? nah, nah, I'll play. But
No, I
yeah, I
know, I
mean,
know. I'm
like,
just saying, like.
It's bro, like it's like what do you like you said, like okay, how do you start processing stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we all dealt with porno growing up and stuff like that, but you know, it was a process for us. We had to like find whoever had the VHS, if it was your pops or your uncle or your brother or something. Then you had to time it. You know what I'm saying? You had to time the time that you can get to the VHS and the TV to watch it when nobody was gonna come around. Like, this shit is on their phone. They can accidentally
earlier.
It's
happening earlier, and the girls are more active earlier, and the girls are more aggressive earlier. So again, it's a cycle, like, and it goes back to the music where the violence and the sex is so accessible and it's so real to them. You know, it's a lot, and you know, y'all raising youngsters, man. Like, how do you filter it? How and you want the information. That's what him coming to you is number one. That's what you want. You want that to keep happening at 14, 15. Like, you still want that information. So you gotta kind of figure out how you're gonna receive it. And
it forces you to make a decision. It forces you to make a decision on being straight and real and raw with them. Or you know, having to just kind of still kind of keep it. No, we can't talk about that, whatever. And you have to make that real decision. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, they're gonna get the raw, rugged information anyway. You know what I'm saying? There's no way we can control it. You have to keep them away from cell phones and iPads and internet and all of that. And you can't do that 24/7 no more. They can accidentally just type the word P and penis or pussy or pop up. You know what I'm saying, on the phone, and next thing you know, they hit with images that they ain't never experienced in their life before. So I mean, that's just where we at with it right now. You know,
and by the time
I like to hear your perspective on rhyme with that.
Listen, man. And by the time my boys get to teenage years, the whole gender thing is gonna be so fluid and so different, and people be walking on eggshells and have to, you know, and then you have to ask yourself, all right, what message am I gonna send to them? You know what I'm saying? And this will probably be an EP at some point.
The fatherhood EP. I'm waiting for it, man.
Skyzoo just did Milestones last year, which was dope.
Oh
you know, I hung out with him last week at the house. Shout out to Skyzoo for entertaining me and my wife on an adult evening. We was able to get away from the kids, man.
So what's it like, man? Not to cut you on that, but what's all right? You, Sky, Tor, everybody, or Mickey Facts, like all of y'all out in Atlanta. Are y'all hanging with each other? Are y'all rocking with each other? Are y'all having like a Brooklyn MC, Brooklyn boy experience in Atlanta? Like Sex in the City? Like what's
not yet. Nah. Me and Sky probably but Sky and Mickey hang. They've been going to like battles and stuff like that. You know, my wife's cool with Sky's wife, so you know what I'm saying, we do the chill adult thing. You know, Sky has like Father's Day at his crib, so Chris Classic come through, Mickey came through last time. I went to Tor's crib a couple months ago. My boy Bonsu was in town. They got the show Hard to Earn. So we we got no bars off. So also went to Del State with me and my partner Boardwalk Brown. So we got a connection. Boardwalk Brown from Coney Island with Torre. That's who introduced me to Torre. So we all fan. We met out at Tor's crib. Tor got a beautiful home out in Ackworth. So you know, we getting up. It's just that people are more spaced out. I think Tor is like the farthest away. He's like an hour away. Me and Sky like 20 minutes from each other.
Got you. But I mean, it has to. I know y'all had to have had that moment where y'all was sitting all together. You know,
energy was there. It was like, let's go do.
Coming from Brooklyn, and y'all all had to say, look at us all winded up here in Atlanta, and like I know y'all had that. I know y'all had that combo.
Listen, we sat in Sky's yard last Friday with the smoke pit and the drinks, and just was looking around like, yo, we came a long way. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got beautiful homes, you know, families. It's it's so much, you leave a lot on the table with music because you figure like, yo, guys had opportunities to be superstars and megastars and have their own verses and things like that. But the quality of life, it's so great, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's still room for more with music, with other things that, Sky and I are both writing scripts. And we talk about other things that we're doing. So we know that it's not over. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? So there's no Sex in the City moments yet. But I ain't even get with Mick since he moved. Like we ain't really get up. He had COVID at one time we was trying to get up, but yeah. So we gonna make it happen though. We at some point we may record. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Just let me know, man. I'll hop in the Cadillac truck and make my way out to Atlanta.
Listen, I was trying to get you. I'm like, yo, man, this is the spot. I know you set up in NC already, but
well, we could make this Greensboro tie happen, man.
Yeah. You ain't too far.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ian, where you at, Ian?
I'm in Jersey right now.
Oh, okay. You in the cold. All right. Have fun. I had shorts on today, man. Chill out.
So yeah, man. Ian, I know you want to close it out. What you had anything else you wanted to? I know you have some specific questions you wanted to ask Sha.
No, I'm good.
You got it out?
Yeah. I got most of it. We good.
Yeah, he went in, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
he went in. I'm grateful for this. This was a great reminiscence
Sha,
session.
it was a long time coming for us, man. Did we ever do an interview?
I mean, that time at the PNC radio, I think we did a little something. We did a little. Y'all wanted me to rap though. So,
usual suspect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we did a little something then.
Yeah. That was a lot. Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. Yeah. Y'all gotta have me back. I got more coming, man. I got some stuff that's on the horizon.
Keep me in the loop, man. Always support, man. Always checking for you. Been a fan since day one, even before we started working together and everything. So, man, I'm just happy and proud to know you, know you as an artist, to just know that you exist as an artist.
Right.
I can by far say nobody on this planet I met, matches Sha Stimuli.
Man,
you know what I mean? And want to see more, brother.
Yeah, no, it's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen. I'm taking a little break right now, but it's gonna happen.
Maybe you get me out of retirement. We'll do another videos at some point or something.
Right. We definitely can.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
All right, y'all. Thank you for having me.
Nah, no doubt.
I appreciate it.
And HHDG. Hey.
Yeah.
Where we at? Look.
Bomb. I gotta get some merch. Word. Yeah.
Once the stuff is pressed up, you one of the first people we gonna send it to, man.
No doubt.
We got some plans for 2022.
Yeah. Big, man. I love the group, man. All right. Thank you. All right, y'all. Peace.
All right.
You got to give your shout outs definitely before you go.
Oh, yeah. Give a shout out.
And then let the people know where they can reach you out.
Oh, man. Instagram. Sha Stimuli, SHASTIMULI, No Bars Off Show on Instagram, No Bars Off Show on YouTube, Facebook, Sharad Khalis. But support, man. Amazon, No Strong Words for the Week, WEEK. It's a good read. Check it out. And I think you guys will love, especially as HHDG, y'all would love No Bars Off, man. It's early. But as we continue to build and continue to get more verses, I think it's gonna be one of those that's gonna be monumental, man. So I appreciate y'all support. NoBarsOff.com also has the merch, bars, flows, entendres, man. That's what it's all about. I appreciate y'all.
No doubt.
Definitely, we appreciate you.
Yeah,
definitely, man.
All right.
Peace.
All right, man. Peace.
All right. Yeah, man. That was a good show, bro.